everybody. This is Anna and Bryan from Amata World podcast, and today we have our next guest. Actually, it's the first guest we ever had on our podcast, Martin Krupik, who is the founder and CEO of Emersa. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. It's just like it was long overdue, to bring you back for episode 2, actually. But yeah, maybe you can remind our listeners what your background and what you've been up to.
Sure, I'm a tech entrepreneur. I'm a creative. I guess I'm an adventurer. Two words to describe me would be maverick extraordinaire, a bit of a trooper sometimes. Yeah, I would say my journey starts when I was 5. My uncle was into sci-fi and tech, so I had my first computer. And then my parents probably wanted me to be a lawyer or something. Eventually they gave up. And today we create games and digital humans.
And maybe you could also just remind us, how did you get inspired to pursue this side of technology? Because there's so many different facets to technology. So why go into, I guess, digital avatars, metaverse, AI? What was your first encounter that, I guess, sparked your, passion to this?
As far as I remember, I think it was around the age of 20. I was visualizing for no particular reason some platforms, people jumping on and off them. I was thinking about what automation is going to do to the world, thinking of some sort of credit system and visualizing other things. Like every now and then I visualize some inventions that either have been already discovered or will be discussed. Yeah, that just out of nowhere, unexplicable. That's how I pronounce it, but unexplicable. Yeah, I guess I've been surrounded by the right people. I think the uncle plays the biggest part. All the nerds that I've met along my journey, I would say I'm a nerd. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nerd too. So yeah, it's kind of maybe that's the reason why it clicked when we met on one of the events.
Could be.
Do you know, maybe I think it would be quite useful if you can actually tell us a little bit more about Emersa. What are you doing over there? In case we definitely will include the link to the previous episode, but yeah, just to remind in a nutshell.
I'll try and be brief. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have sold 2 companies. One was CGIs, computer generated images for architecture, and another one we scanned film to digital. So that was a machine. We sold quite a few units. And then I went to do a project with London Olympics, 2012. It was really ambitious. London Sustainability Academy, quite a lot of people. The idea was to involve all the corporations to help in a collaborative way. So you could say I was doing Web3 stuff already 15 years ago. But then it didn't work out. Despite having the money, despite having everything, we didn't get the permission. I got really depressed. And I thought, what am I going to do? I didn't think that at that point in my life. At that point, I was just surviving. But I thought, if there's an opportunity to do something meaningful, I will. And then it was around 2000, the COVID came. We had a lot of time to think about. And I thought about how, again, the automation, how it's going to play part, how the world is unjust. And I thought of a anonymous platform where people could be empowered, learn digital tools, financial tools, perhaps even have an economy. And then around 2022, we were not happy with the AI NPC characters, the artificial intelligence non-player characters. And we created our first digital human. I lectured on a university. Somebody approached me and said, Martin, we would like that for our website. I was like, oh, we don't do that. We don't do these things. It's for a game, man. Sorry to bother you. I walked home and I was thinking, gosh, we've got a product. And we partnered up today. This is the main pursuit. We're still building the game, but the main pursuit is the digital humans, the enterprise AI avatars. We've got some very interesting partners. You can find out all about us. The use case is to explain a manual. You can interact with the manual. They are agentic, they are ambient, meaning they can perform functions and they can see inside a computer, they can see inside a camera. So that's what Emersa is doing today in a nutshell.
Nice. And I think that's a really interesting product that you have. Could you walk us through maybe some of the steps that someone who's maybe experiencing this product first time, how do they interact with this agent? Can they do Is that something you can share with us?
Yeah, I can share it. Today it's online. It's on the web. It's streamed. The main advantage that makes us a little different is that we can deploy on premise. It means that the data is very secure and there is no third party API. So everything is on the metal, and the interactions are quite straightforward. There is a graphic user interface, the avatar, the character, and it's connected through the backend to a variety of APIs. So you can find out what the weather is, what is the price of stock, but you can also interact and have it connected through your email or WhatsApp. So you can give it tasks. You can say, okay, whatever you just said to me, please send me an email, which is quite different to a regular chatbot, I would say. And then the ambient part is very exciting for me, because it has access to the camera, microphone, any sort of IoT Internet of Things device. So we can have quite a substantial data aggregation. The interaction is like similar to we're interacting here. It's just more fast paced. The bot can speak, can hear you. It's just like that. That's pretty much. The other part is perhaps some of the advanced programs. So say if you were to complete a training with the bot, there's a script. So it's like a game. It's gamified. That's the other advantage. I don't know. Maybe that helps.
So for example, like the use cases, the people who approach you for digital humans in order to train the kind of like employees, you mean, or what kind of industries are interested in it? Or more advanced, you mean? Just like are they working in tech, or is like universities or like corporate?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the right ones. I think universities are very interested because they would like to pursue the teaching part, but we're very early, so it's quite expensive, the technology. If you want to do it in a small team, it still costs a lot of money. So the companies we're engaging are the Fortune 500, so bigger. Um, the use case is it's either training or an explainer. The main use case, what we managed to sell the most is the repetitive explaining of a product. So imagine a manager who needs to 10 times, 20 times a week explain something to a new customer. Instead, they can interact with the bot. Another company wants to have a anti-terrorist training of sorts. But I think the use cases will crystallize, and we will see. I'd like to see a platform where they can all do it themselves.
So, can you tell us, is this also, because you mentioned that your initial project was a game, like how does this relate to what you're also building in the background? Like, are you
Right.
also building this alongside offering this as a separate service, or is it eventually going to be merged into sort of this bigger project that you have in mind?
These are separate ventures. Don't tell anyone. I'm building it secretly. I'm not supposed to even talk about the game part. Promised everyone I'm just going to focus solely on the digital humans, which I am. I use it it became a hobby more like now. So like the storyline that I'm writing towards the different things, it's set. We've worked on it for so long. It's set. I think it's a matter of money rather to complete the game part, and the digital humans are separate. They are stemming from the game. So during the game development, we came up with these characters, these avatars. I don't think it's anything particularly new. I would say it's just that what's new that it is happening. I remember watching some Star Trek characters, holograms, digital assistants, robots, you name it. What we want is the way I visualize this particular avatar is it's translucent. It's has a blue hue. It's distinct to a human, and it perhaps is able to live and be seen in the space. That's why. So yeah, two different.
So for sure, probably for digital humans, in order to like power them up with the AI. So did you have what's your point of view on like AI hype around like different industries, and yeah, how you're preparing yourself and
Gosh,
your startup? What are the ways you're using AI right now for the digital humans? And is there any kind of like benefits? But on the side as well, your personal opinion about the hype around AI and everything
I'll
and how it will
try.
affect.
I'll
creatives and
try.
metaverse?
I'll try. Okay. So I would say I'm an AI enthusiast for maybe 2 decades. And I'm aware that AI is around for maybe 5 or 6 decades. Finally, we have an interface to interact with and a transformer model. So that was exciting. However, I've been interacting with the GPT-3 and everybody was trying to discourage me. One of my experiences is, for example, we tried to build a wallet, Web3 wallet. I was told 60,000 for months. Okay. Don't use AI to code, Martin. Don't do it. Right. I'm a bit stubborn. I did. I've created a pseudocode, got someone on Fiverr, $500 later, 1 week later, we had it. I would say I am hugely enabled by AI, but also I noticed throughout the time I have to be very careful with the outcomes and so on. So one of the best ways, the best way I use AI is to create images for mood boards. Whenever I need to explain something visual, I create a set of pictures that really help me describe what I'm doing, because picture really is a million words, 1,000 words. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I've done the text interactions. I want to parse text. I want to scrape text. So that's another thing that I've been doing. The biggest help we had was connecting Claude with Klein. So command line interface, Anthropic large language model. It's connected to GitHub, and in plain language, you can vibe code. And it's very efficient. It then can build its own server, MCP server. I'm a bit dyslexic, so if it's MPC, I apologize. I think it's MCP server. So it can build out its own tools. And this is where it gets really fascinating. I think we're getting towards the point what was Steve Jobs intended for us to have tools and be able to really interact with the computer. What's my outlook? Let me tell you more about how we utilize AI within. There is an entire backend where essentially I think like everyone else does it. There's factory prompts. So we design factory prompts that go with every single interaction so that it's coming back. And there's a little more to it. There's a bit of neurolinguistic programming. There's emotional processing of the voice, speech to speech, speech to text. There are few technologies combined together, but at the core of it is an LLM. We have been using at the beginning the GPT-3 that I mentioned. That's the predecessor of the GPT 3.5, which is today ChatGPT. Now I think they're at number 5 or something. We, however, I think I can say that we use Claude a lot. We like Llama. We've got access to pretty much any of those LLMs. And what we're doing differently is that you might have heard of RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, that prevents hallucination, right? I think that the way they design the bot is that if the bot doesn't know, it should give you an answer. So it comes up with something. And usually it's actually not right. They're very convincing. So RAG is a system that kind of like helps it to stay within the truth. What we've done is, because it's gamified essentially, the bot sticks to its memory bank and it has a script. So the chances of deviating from the script are very low. In fact, this weekend, I'm laughing because I don't know where that's going to go, but I invented a data verifier. Yeah. So yet another bot that will be verifying the data while scraping the internet. Don't know how, anyways, it's just that we want to give the best possible outcome. And then where are we going with AI? Well, it's what is it today? It's October 2024. And now we have a debate whether it's a bubble or it's not a bubble. On top, we have proponents such as, I think I can say it, such as Mr. Bezos, who thinks we should have more compute power sourced out in the orbit. So let's maybe send 50 super heavies with Musk up there, billions of worth of gear. Where I'm going with this is some people think it should be in a polar circle. And so I'm talking about data centers. And I personally believe that the need for compute will change. And I think that the trajectory or the way we're taking today is flawed. It's a bold statement because everybody wants AI and so on. However, I believe that the onset of quantum computing is coming, and I believe that different ways of looking at inference and coherence for the AI will be discovered or are discovered already. And then within the society, I believe that we do really need to look into how we are going to go as a society, since we can automate a lot. And this is maybe I'm coming back to when I was talking about automation. When I was 20, I visualized some sort of credit system where everybody gets money just because they're born here, and they would get clothing, education within limits, of course. I'm very strong about this. I think that we're entering a very, very crazy time where the prices are rising disproportionately to the wages, that the wars need to be supported. It's a crazy, 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 crazy time. I don't know if I would like this society to be run by an AI. That I'm a bit dubious about, but perhaps few assistants and so on. We'll see. I'm positive about it. I'm also scared. I'm also negative. It's a mixture. It's an oxymoron of things. I really can't say. What I can tell you is that I don't think anyone's ready. I'm not ready. I'm just embracing it. That's where I am.
And so, you talk about a lot of these different tools that you use for your own work, and maybe also while developing any side projects that may or may not be a game. But, do you have any sort of advice for people, I guess, starting on their own journey into this space, trying to develop their own projects, a game or anything like that? How can they, I guess, best leverage the tools today? And also, maybe, do you notice any trends that maybe people are leaning towards, any particular types of industry or games?
So, I guess the question is about what kind of tools to use to make these things and so on.
Yeah, what kind of tools in generally, how should you approach this? Because you talked about how
So,
creating a lifelike NPCs was your main motivation for this.
So one pipeline is AI 3D to Blender to Unreal Engine. That's very fast prototyping. There are some attempts to create an entire world. It's not there yet. I would say you can use combination, as I mentioned earlier, the generative AI. So for pictures, create a mood board, have something created. You could make a picture with AI, send it to someone on Fiverr. In a few days, you've got the environment. Take the environment, make something with AI again, get someone to do it in Blender or do it yourself, something like this. And I think what changed in the last for 3 years, we don't have any front-end developers. That literally they are all gone. We only work with elite coders. So I would say the setup for you would be to get some serious business acumen, meaning really understand about marketing, why marketing, perhaps a bit of PR, but understand the implications of running a business. That's from accounting to legal standpoints, compliance, cybersecurity. This is very, very important for you as a founder. Make sure you find the right co-founder, that you are aligned. Don't be desperate hiring people. There's a lot, but what would be really beneficial for you is to have a technical co-founder who's like a wizard in the tech that will really help you to connect all the different backends and stuff. And then perhaps the other part is what I learned later on is keeping checks with the hardware. I'm going to laugh a little bit because when we started, I don't think we even had 8 gigabytes graphics cards. That's 2000. Okay. And today we're buying 28 gigabytes Jetsons to actually run the things. So as much as I'm saying earlier that the compute is flawed, we need a ton of hard work to do this stuff. And so that's maybe what I could help you with. Yeah, I am. I don't know if it's fair to say or whether I should be even saying it, but like most of the contracts that I did with AI. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but it works. I've seen a real lawyer's produced. It looks totally different. It's like pages and pages and pages. No one's going to read that, but fair play costs a lot of money. And I think as we go, it's just going to get better. I would say embrace all the different tools that you can get your hands on. In fact, there should be enough tools for a solopreneur to just launch something. Yeah, that you've got. I'm imagining like a spider of tools. Yeah, you've got from music to text to mini game to this to I think. But Will it stand the test of time? I'm not sure. I think to prototype, yes, prototype all day long. And don't be afraid. Don't listen to anyone. Main thing is don't talk to the wrong people, or even better, talk to the wrong people so you find out who the right people are. Everything changes the moment you meet the right person, the people who really support you, who really dig what you're doing. In my case, it usually happens when I meet some corporation. They already been thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I spoke to all of my friends. They all think I'm an utter, but you guys think we should go with it. Okay, let's go. So maybe that's a little bit of tangent there. Like I would say, it might skim over people with the co-founder part, but I speak from experience. So what I'd recommend is don't ever do 50-50. Just don't. Just do 60-40. Keep the leverage. You will need it as a visionary. And the other thing is that people promise a lot of things. So perhaps have someone to help you hire people. Hiring is quite tricky. And I don't know. That's pretty much. There's so much more I could tell you, but like it's in a nutshell. Yeah.
And maybe can we talk a little bit more about your hopes and predictions for the metaverse itself? And what do you think we need to, like, what kind of steps do we need to take to make it more, how to say, kind of embedded into our like day-to-day life? So it will be like, what's the way to mass adoption? And as well as just like what are your predictions for your own project? And if you had, let's say, unlimited resources, what would be like a dream kind of like project with what you're doing right now? What's the goal? And is it like you want to change the world or like get a lot of money? It's just like, but I think it's just like what's the best one is actually to merge those two to actually have an impact, and because you need resources for them to make it happen. Is there a way that we can actually get to like Ready Player One type of thing, or what was it? Snow Crush? Yeah, the
Yeah,
book.
Snow Crash.
Think so. This is I always find this tricky because like the question is different angles. I don't see a mass adoption. Like I don't know how that's could happen because in a way the best experiences are probably quite simple things like seeing a sunset or having a conversation and so on. So for people who have the ability to do that, the metaverse becomes an enhancing activity. So that would be at work. So I imagine at this point in time, the nearest I'm imagining is the augmented reality, where instead of 3 monitors here, I'll just have the glasses and I'll sit here. Somehow it won't tire my eyes, but it's so tiring. I think the biggest issue we have is with the hardware and the strenuous effect of it, because if you're receiving so much data, it is not exactly easy. So it's not for everyone. I would say some people are capable of lasting hours on end. Some people won't last, I don't know, half an hour. As the tech will become more and more natural. So I think the next technology after that for me is some sort of functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, where I imagine a small device, something like this. Yeah, something like this. It's a USB stick, okay, but I'll put it behind my ear and basically somehow it will switch on and it will interact with my brain. And at this point, I could see things here and so on. So I think that is something that I'll be comfortable with. I don't want to invade my body with anything. Just seriously no. Also, I can last a long time in the VR. I sold my VR now. I just don't do it anymore. It's just too much. So we need something that's more pleasant. I would say it will happen a lot at work, entertainment, and so on. And I don't know when and where it's going to go, but I don't think it's going to be like a sensational overnight where Mark or someone's going to come up with a really heavy device like the Apple did or something, and we're all just going to suddenly be no. Also, I think that it's going to be a collaborative effort to achieve some sort of interoperability. For our project, what I would like it to be, like my dreams are that it's going to become a form of, I call it interroute. So imagine a junction of different places. So like yellow pages of metaverses. You click on it and you go, oh yeah, I want to go to that metaverse and this metaverse. And there's a notification saying, oh, you haven't been to this one for a long time. Would you like me to take you there? An event's happening. I don't know exactly, like really, I don't. I find that what a lot of people are perpetuating a metaverse, an XR experience as a metaverse, like looking at a car, that probably is part of the metaverse, but it's the same thing with what happened with AI. Like there's a hype word and people just steal it and they just go with it. It's like the agentic solutions. Yeah. It's just automation sold as. So I hope you know where I'm going with this a little bit. I'm someone who still likes to use a pen and a paper. I think that's a great device. But at the same time, I'm hugely enabled by technology and I wish this for everyone. So I would say that education is the very next. The enhanced workspace is already happening, is already followed. I think it will play out a little different than we imagine the sci-fi to be. But eventually it will end up with the holodeck where, again, I will take this little thing and I'll turn this into a meditation school in India or something. Yeah. And I'll be able to meditate. And then there'll be a phone call. So the whole thing disappears because it's my girlfriend. I have to answer it. And she decides that she's going to take a prank and there's someone else. The one thing I'm worried about is the safety. I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think that sorry, I'm changing the subject a little bit, but it matters a lot, I think. Today, we're not safe on the internet. How are we going to be safe in future? I have no idea, literally. So I'm just, I listened to a very, very beautiful podcast, some of your colleagues talking about how the quantum computing will be able to enhance cybersecurity. So it's like real-time cybersecurity. So I think that's going to be very, very key factor to any sort of adoption. Think kids, think people, think yourself, think the entirety, the amount of information that we're already receiving. And this is, I think, what my mum said, I don't know how many years ago, but she said something like, in the age of information, it's not that difficult to acquire information, but to get rid of it. Yeah. So think how much information we're receiving today and what we're going to be receiving when the visual side of things is going to kick into motion. So lastly to that, what I'm really passionate about is visual communication. I'm around visual communication for it's going to be 3 decades now, 2 decades, let's say. And I found that words can be very limiting, whereas a video, or it's limiting for me, okay, because I struggle with it. But yeah, I think that a good visual communication of a project somewhere will enable more philanthropy. It will make the world a better place. And you're asking me, what's my purpose? So I would say that my purpose is to unite people and improve the world somewhat in a protopia kind of way, where it's just a little, like, even if a little step, even if I can make a little improvement, I'll be more than happy. And then my dream is to take a pile of money that is like a larger sum that we'll make with our universe and set up a genius academy, because I believe that we need to support people who are smart, who may not have the resources and so on. So that's the one. And if I had unlimited funds, that would be for that time. If I had unlimited funds, yeah, I probably have a bunch of. I'll have a factory for personal quantum computing already in motion. But I think I will get to the point where there's not necessarily unlimited funds, but funds to do things. And one of my ambitious things is I would like to collect rubbish from the orbit.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
This is actually because like right now they need to calculate even the path when they're launching something, because there's so many things left over, like from the previous satellites and missions.
Crazy.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
That's so cool.
That's a lot of food for thought for our listeners. So I think this is probably a good place to end the episode. But I'd like to leave maybe the last few minutes for yourself, Martin, to any last words, or like if people want to learn more about what you do and they want to get into contact, where can they find you? What's the best place to reach out?
Okay, famous last words. No, what the listeners don't know is that there's a gun to my head here. You can't see it, it's blurry. I'm excited with the whole thing. I'm a little bit worried about the political paradigm. I was really hoping for no wars. Military complex needs to earn more money. So I'd like to see this changing. I'd like to see a new dialogue. So that's where I like to see. But for in terms of the companies, I would like to see a breakthrough. So we're partnering up with some interesting people. It's not very easy. Like the amount of times when I thought I'll quit. There's times where there's no one to talk to about this, but somehow there's always. I'm now almost trained to have the light on the horizon, the beacon. So I look for those beacons. I would like the society to remain free because I think that all this tech could very easily enslave people with a lot of surveillance. If you look at the posts that we're making, they can have access to pretty much everything, including how you feel. That's pretty dangerous. So I would like to avoid the 1984 scenarios where we go in, and I'll be actively pursuing that. Other than this, I'm really excited about the onset of quantum computing. I know it's here. I haven't touched one yet. I haven't interacted with one apart from learning the IBM Qiskit language. I know that the UK is the first country that squeezed a quantum computer into a laptop. So I'm really looking forward to this. Like, this is going to be the game changer, and I would like to have more free time for everyone, like more leisure, because the last century, I think it was crazy, like people working their ass off, and then you don't even know how to enjoy retirement. We need to change that somewhat so that everyone has access to education, and I think that the bots could enable that a little bit. And by education, I don't mean education for jobs, but education to grow, something like that. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It was so great to bring you back, like on the podcast. I really missed you. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, amazing.
Thanks. I'm delighted that it just.
Let's
And
make it
then,
happen.
yeah,
Let's clear out the space. I
for
love
sure.
that. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. And to all listeners, thanks for listening up to this point, and you have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.